another Heart to Heart. We are still here in beautiful Colorado. This time we are talking right behind the Country Club of the Rockies golf course, which is Court. Did you know that?
I didn't know.
Yeah, it's a Jack Nicklaus golf course. And we're here still in Edwards, Colorado, having a great time. And this is my amazing friend, Gaby Milhoan. And Gaby is like a Renaissance woman. There is nothing that she does not do. And on this trip particular, back to my home away from home, I learned that her newest hat that she's wearing is coach. So I am dying to dive into how this even happened. She's coaching her daughter, who is Oakley, and she's 13 years old. She's such an awesome kid, but I can't even imagine what it must be like coaching your own child.
Yes. That's where we're starting.
That's where we're starting. So wait, no, before we do, Gaby, why don't you introduce yourself and give everybody a little bit of your background?
Yeah. Well, I had the pleasure and honor of meeting Christy and the Diaz family in our COVID adventure. So they moved out here in 2020, the infamous 2020. My family and I, we've been in the Vail Valley. Well, my husband's been in the Vail Valley his entire life. He's born and raised here. I've been here for 20 something years. And we got to meet these guys back in our COVID adventures, and our kiddos were in school together, and we stayed friends and stayed in touch. And, you know, funny, Christy, that you didn't realize how much I coached, because I've been coaching for 20 years. And I guess in COVID, we didn't have sports. We didn't have all of it.
Exactly.
So it makes sense that
I didn't
you didn't know that part
you.
of me. Yeah.
I met you in a season of life where that was just not happening.
Right. Totally.
So you are not a Colorado native, even though your husband is.
No.
You hail from?
I hail from Texas, which, it's hard to even mention that right now with everything that's happened.
I know.
Hail from Houston, Texas, originally area. Grew up going to Hill Country, New Braunfels, all of that.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, so obviously hearts going out to all of our friends and family and just all the families affected by the floods.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My heart goes out to all those moms. If one mom cries, every mom cries, as you know well.
Yes.
So I had the pleasure of speaking to Carter Thomas Griffin and Lauren Thomas as well.
Awesome.
And I think the common theme is how you end up here. It's very hard to find a local like your husband.
Yes, that is true. Yeah. He is a rare breed in this town.
A rare bird. There is this idea that I have that you have to find your mountain, right? How did you find Vail Valley?
Well, I picked my mountain out of a hat. Literally picked Vail, Colorado out of a hat. After college, I spent 2 years in LA, you know, doing the rat race and working crazy amount of hours. I worked for NASCAR right out of college. So it would be 100-hour work week, and then we'd go to the track on the weekends for the race. And it was just a grind for 2 years.
Yeah.
So at 24, I decided to take a sabbatical, which sounds crazy young looking back on it, to take a sabbatical at 24. But I had dabbled and started snowboarding in California and had gone a total of 7 times in my whole life in the 2 years that I lived in California, and decided with a friend that we wanted to go spend a season in a mountain town snowboarding. So we knew it was Colorado. That much we knew. We knew Colorado. And we picked Vail out of about 15 other mountain towns and picked up, gave notice, and moved to Vail a month later.
Wow, that is just crazy to me. And you never looked back, obviously.
Never looked. Well, intended to come out for a winter season. Intended to come out. I'm like, oh, sure, I can coach snowboarding. I've snowboarded 7 days. Why not? At the #1 ski resort in the world at the time. So intended to move out here, spend a season coaching snowboarding if I could get a job, and then go back to work. But after that season and after getting that job coaching snowboarding, I got talked into staying for a summer. And as you probably know, if a Texas girl spends a single summer in Colorado, you don't ever leave.
I mean, I think summers, they used to be the best kept secret out here. Yes. I don't think they're a secret anymore.
No, they're not secret anymore.
Yeah. People come out to ski or snowboard and they don't know what this is like in the summer.
Yeah.
Fall here is just out of control gorgeous. So I could see how that happened with you.
Yep.
So you weren't even that great of a
I was
snowboarder,
a terrible
is what
snowboarder.
you told
I
me.
was a terrible snowboarder. I mean, I went to the, tryouts, auditions, whatever they're called, to become a snowboard instructor. And you go through this whole day of training and day of classroom work and all this stuff. And then you get your offer, you don't get your offer. And I got an offer, but it was contingent on several things. It's funny because I'm dear friends with the man who hired me 21 years ago to this day. Actually,
So
my
funny.
husband works with him today. So, but the offer letter was contingent on, it basically said, hey, you're a pretty good coach. You got good teaching ability. You have a nice smile. You relate to people, but you're terrible at snowboarding. So here's your job offer. You can only teach the tinies, though, like the 7-year-olds. And you have to get significantly better at snowboarding in 2 weeks.
That's crazy.
So,
what was it like teaching the littles?
well, it was awesome. But what I realized is I wanted to teach littlers, because the ski program had 3 to 6-year-olds and then 7 to 14s. And at that time, the snowboard program didn't have anything younger than 7.
Right.
So I started teaching the 7 to 14-year-olds and then got to talk in with the leadership there.
Mhm.
And together that year, we actually wrote the curriculum and started the 5 to 6 mini jib snowboard program at Vail.
That is so cool. How long did you do that for?
I did that for 3 seasons.
Did you
Yeah.
really?
I mean, I did that for 3 seasons full time.
Okay.
And then I transitioned and I coached snowboarding for Vail for 18 years.
I did not know this. This is nuts.
Yeah.
So you met your husband while you were working out here, I assume.
Yes. So I spent a couple years in Vail before we met. And then, we came together. We met at the Wolcott Yacht Club, which was just reopened this weekend.
That's crazy. Yeah. And then you have 2 children.
We do, Oakley and Bridger.
And Oakley, I call her a little Renaissance star because there's nothing that Oakley doesn't do. She dances, she sings, she performs, she plays lacrosse, she plays volleyball. How on earth did you go from, because you had a desk job, you ran around, you did many things. There's nothing you don't do. And apart from everything that you already do in your career, your husband has a career of his own that does not allow him to be home to help you a lot.
I would say Trey has 3 careers of his own. Speaking of Renaissance man, he's fascinating. Like he has his business, which is so unique, I think, to people outside of this industry. But he's a big game hunting guide, which usually takes him out of our home and out of the state and sometimes out of the country for about 5 months.
And when he's out hunting, there's times where he's not even in communication with you because there's no satellite to reach him.
Yeah, he goes to really remote, really high altitude destinations.
So cool.
He'll be gone for weeks on end without communication.
So how do you have time for it all? How did you fall into, well, I guess you didn't fall into coaching because you've been coaching all this time, but how did it kind of resurface in your life?
Yeah, I mean, besides coaching snowboarding, I'm sure everyone has this in their local communities where your YMCA or your rec district or whatever it is calls on parent coaches and calls on volunteer coaches. And I guess my more recent foray back into coaching at a higher level started there. It started when Oakley was in 4th grade and they're like, hey, you can save the registration fee and we need coaches. And I'm like, oh, I know a decent, I played soccer and I'm like, I can start with coaching soccer. And so it started there. Then it moved into basketball. Then it moved into volleyball. And I ended up with a really sweet group of girls in 4th grade volleyball. And just kind of stayed with them into middle school.
Yeah.
Now it's their 8th grade year. And now I coach a bunch of them, not only in middle school, but also on a club team.
So you gave me a really interesting stat the last time we talked, and you mentioned that 95% of the coaches here in the Valley are volunteers.
I would say that that's pretty close to accurate. I would also just say, like, in general, if you have a kid who plays elementary or middle school sports and their coach is not one of their teachers at school who's also paid to coach, which roughly 90 to 95% of elementary and middle school coaches are parent volunteers.
Wow.
Yeah. They're not getting paid to coach. They're no different than parents who aren't coaching.
Gabby,
Yeah.
that's a vocation though, to be able to dedicate that amount of time. And not only that, you are becoming somebody's role model.
Well, in season, yes, it is a vocation. I mean, it becomes a second job because
Yeah.
in addition to the 2-hour daily practices, you're putting hours in planning the practices, you're coordinating the team communication, you're coordinating the practice schedules, the gym space, the
Sure.
everything. So yeah, it does become a lot of extra work. And I think that's just something like love on your coaches. If you know, I think that's for parents of elementary and middle school coaches, like they are doing a thankless job.
Yes.
For sure. It is a thankless job. They just said yes, like we're not trained. We're not Coach Prime. We're not
Exactly.
like, we are not trained. We're just stepping in because we care about the kids. We care about the sport. We want to make the sport possible.
Yeah.
So
what is it like when you're having a relationship with a parent that forgets that line is blurred, that you're not a full-time real coach, you are a parent that's doing it for the love of their child and the love of a game? Because I don't know how it is in Colorado, but in Miami, those parents can get pretty scary.
Yeah,
that's scary, but it's I could have put a different word.
Yeah,
but I'm going to put scary. I mean, they get very emotional. They get very much into the game. I don't know if people are the same here.
Totally. Yeah,
Okay.
I think parent-coach relationship is such a funny. It can be lovely. It can be a wonderfully enriching, lovely relationship. It can also like take friends and cause rifts. And so I think there's a lot of things between like a parent and coach relationship for parents. I mean, I have, like my kids play other sports that I don't coach.
Right.
And I think like being a coach puts you in a different position to look at those coaches with so much respect and gratitude.
Of course.
And just knowing what they're going through. And I think just wishing everyone kind of understood that.
Sure.
That again, we're not highly trained. Like we just said yes. We're making it possible. A lot of times when no one else said yes, and literally you get the email like, this sport's not going to happen if you don't do this kind of thing. And so I think what I'd love to leave with parents is teach your child to communicate with the coach instead of trying to do all the communication and protection for them.
Mm-hmm.
Because your kids are going to have good coaches and they're going to have bad coaches. Mm-hmm. They are throughout their life. And if you protect them from those bad coaches because you think you're doing them a service, you're actually doing them a disservice.
Right.
Instead, your job is to be their cheerleader. Sure. And your job is to build them up and be like, hey, I understand that was tough. And I understand your perspective of, maybe you didn't get as much playing time as you would have liked or whatever it is. But teach them resilience in that and teach them how to build character in that and teach them, like, instead of blaming it on the coach and just, your conversation on the car ride home matters. Sure. And if you're just coming down on them or if you're coming down on the coach, they're watching that and they're learning that from you. So then they're going to become a victim and put the blame, like, be like, oh, well, this isn't me. I don't need to work harder. This isn't on me. This is on my coach. So I would say, like, encourage them to glean as much as they can from the good coaches and build as much resilience and grit from the tougher coaches.
Okay.
And learn how to communicate with the coach. I think the thing you see when you look at like 4th through 8th grade sports, the thing that's hard for parents is you're going from like the fundamental rec league, YMCA league, everyone equal playing time, to competition coming into the sport.
Yeah.
And once you get into middle school, that's a hard place for parents because, man, they still want the best for their kids. Kids are learning to communicate with adults. They still want to advocate for their kids. And that's all okay. But bring your athlete into the conversation instead of doing it for them. If you're not happy with playing time, ask coach, hey, can I volunteer at practice? Like, let me see what's going on. So, you can observe your child's behavior.
Sure.
I mean, not every coach, but how I coach, it doesn't necessarily matter your talent. What matters is your work ethic.
Right.
Like my coaching philosophy is work hard, have fun, and winning will be the result. It's not winning comes first. But if you're working hard, you're going to earn that spot. You're going to earn that time. And if you have a good attitude and encouraging attitude, like, you may play more than a person with a bad attitude. So I think it's helpful for parents to, if they want to see change, to not just think that it's because of the coach, to come and observe and be like, coach, how can I help? You know, just like, how can I get involved? How can I support my kid? How can I support you? I appreciate you. I know you're doing this as a volunteer.
I love that. I feel like the world needs more coaches like you.
Oh,
but
well,
I gotta say, if I had to be put on a field with one of my children, I don't know how that relationship would kind of evolve at home. Like, when do you leave stuff at home? Leave things on the field? When does it get blurry? Is it a challenge for you with parents, with your other teammates? What's it like to coach your child?
Coaching your own child is tough. You know, I think it's tough and it's amazing at the same time.
Sure.
Right? Because you get a lens into your child's life that's deeper than being a spectator, for sure. Like, you get to really see the big wins and the challenges. I think some of the challenges of coaching your own child, you know, and it can be on both ends of the spectrum. It can be if your child is terrible.
Right.
And it can be if your child is exceptional.
Right.
And I've coached both. I've coached where my child was just like, not like picking clovers on the soccer field. And when my child is great. And I think that's so tricky, because you have to walk that fine line of, you know, sometimes you're harder on your own child. You have bigger expectations of them. Oh, you know, I know Oakley's constantly like looking at me like, oh, did you see that when I did good? Or like seeking that approval. And that's something I really try to protect. And, you know, like, I don't want her seeking approval in me, because, you know, we come from a Christian faith, and like, we don't seek approval of man, we seek approval of God. And so I think just equipping her just with her own inner confidence, and like letting her know that it's not about my approval. It's not about her approval. It's just work hard, have fun, and your progress will be a result.
Do you find yourself in the car after a game talking about what happened, improvements, criticisms, or do you have a really good grasp on it and kind of just leave things on the field and not say a word and just put your mom hat on again?
I always ask her. That's like my number one rule. I will coach her during the game, but after the game's over, I will say, hey, do you want to talk about it, or do you want to wait? And just kind of take her lead on it. Because sometimes, like, if it was a really great game or a really close game, she's analytical and she'll want to like process every point. And sometimes she'll just be like, nope, not right now, you know? And I think whether you're a parent coach or a parent, I think that's a tip that one of my mentors shared with me, is like, that car ride home is so important, you know, and just don't dissect their playing on that car ride home. That's your time to connect with them, to build them up, to find the wins, to, you know, and to let them take the lead. Like, just ask them like, hey, do you want to talk about it? Do you want it like, or do you want to just chill and talk about it later, process it later? So.
And how long do you intend to coach Oakley?
Oh, I would love for this to be the last year. Like I said, I've kind of been with some of these girls since 4th grade, and this is their 8th grade year, and I don't really want to venture into high school coaching.
Is that a different animal?
Total different beast. Total different beast. I love this age group of girls. It's a really pivotal age. You know, I love that transition from...
It's a rough age.
It's a rough age. And I love the transition in these teenage years. You know, I coach in one team, I coach 10, 13-year-old girls. On another team, I coach about 40, 11 to 14-year-old girls. And you just get to walk through life with them. Which is really cool. And I think once they get to the next level in play, I think there's professionals out there. There's paid coaches at that level that are more equipped. But if I can be a part of their story and journey in this phase of life, it's really good.
Well, I love that.
Yeah.
So you had mentioned before that you're a woman of faith.
Yeah.
And I can only assume that you integrate faith into your coaching. Can you tell us more about that?
Yes. Well, I have the privilege of teaching a combined team at a Christian and Catholic school. And it's actually a really unique coaching opportunity because we have however many middle schools we have in the Valley. This one is sort of the landing ground for any other school who doesn't have a volleyball team. So we actually have girls from 5 different schools who play there, as well as homeschool girls. So it's this melting pot of girls.
Is this your 40-person team?
This is it's 5 teams made up of about 40 to 45 girls.
Got it.
Yeah.
And how far do they come?
Some girls come from Eagle. Some girls, they come from all over the Valley.
Minutes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Will you remind me the question?
Yes. The question is, how do you integrate your faith into coaching?
So I think having the privilege to coach at a Christian school, obviously, like, faith is openly welcomed. And I think, as I've ventured into coaching a club sport, that was just sort of a non-negotiable when approached to coach this team. I just said, this is who I am as a coach.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know how to coach without it.
Mm-hmm.
So are you cool with this? And, I think you can bring faith into sports in a way that is respectful and not overbearing for non-believers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, being respectful, communicating with parents and just letting them know, hey, this is who I am. If you're okay with this, like, I will be praying with the girls. The girls will be encouraged to pray. It's different environments in the Christian school setting versus the club setting. But I think faith is critical, especially at this age. And I'm not saying faith in one, but just the ability to give it to someone other than themselves.
Right.
Because we're talking about middle school sports. We're not talking about curing cancer. But man, do these kids carry this like it's the weight of the world. Like, truly, if they lose a game, if they have a bad play, they carry it so heavy. And so I think that faith and being able to give it to God and being able to trust that they're not alone and that, like, they are going to rebound from this mistake. Their identity is not in volleyball. Their identity is not in football. Their identity is not in this sport and in this one mistake or this one loss.
Right.
So I think if they understand that their identity is found in Christ, that just releases some of the pressure.
Sure.
And like I said, have fun comes first, work hard. And so in order to get back to that place of having fun, I just don't want them carrying that burden alone.
Yeah.
And I think when they can, if they get hurt, they pray. If they, before the game, they can pray. If they invite the other team in for prayer, it just creates a connectivity and trust that, I think I know it's one of the most cliche. I don't think it's overused though. Like Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
Mm-hmm.
I think that gives the girls a power that's just bigger than themselves.
Sure.
And we talk about it all the time at the Christian school where I coach. Like, we have 7 men on the court,
right.
And so that when these mistakes happen, it's easier for them to let it go. It's easier for them to build mental resilience. It's easier for them to bounce back from the mistake.
Do you see, as a coach on all teams, that I was going to say a student, but no, an athlete who plays with faith has the advantage over one who doesn't?
I think that's tough. I don't want to say advantage.
Maybe that's the wrong choice.
Well, no, I like, yes, of course I'm going to say yes, but I think so many things go into it, right? I think that mental fortitude goes into it. I think grit. I think ability to bounce back. I think athletes find that, like, is faith one channel for that? For sure.
Yeah.
I think athletes who don't have a faith, like, they find it in whatever it is. So I don't know if it's an advantage per se, but what I can say coaching the teams in the way I coach, these girls can bounce back. They really can bounce back. They can shake off mistakes. And where I've seen teams we've played against, like, man, they make 1 or 2 mistakes, they just get down.
Mm-hmm.
and then we can take advantage of that. So I guess like there is an advantage there.
Right, yeah.
And I've had girls like we will be in a timeout and they'll be like, coach, no, don't talk to me. Let's pray.
Wow.
And like, and that gives me goosebumps because it's like, that is kind of enough.
Right.
So,
yeah. So Gaby, is there a particular moment of transformation, either with a player, you as a coach, with the parents, that just gave you that feeling of like, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing?
Oh man, I have a bunch from this season. I mean, with my own daughter, but the one that comes to mind, not to just like highlight any one player or anything, but there is one that comes to mind. We had a player who, bless her heart, made the team. It's competitive, really competitive tryouts.
Mm-hmm.
We had 42 girls try out for 10 spots.
Sure.
And she made the team. And right before the first practice started, she blew her knee out in a skiing accident on the mountain, and she was out for the season.
Poor thing.
Yes, I mean, and just so excited.
Oh.
This, she was on the twos team last year, so to make the ones team, it's just like really already this story of kind of, comeback story and just cool
underdog.
Right. And she, after her surgery, as soon as she could walk, she showed up at practice. This girl showed up at every single practice.
That's amazing.
Every single bonus clinic. Like players on the team weren't even going to the bonus clinics. She was going to the bonus clinics.
Wow.
She came to every single tournament. We're a travel team. Like she traveled to every single tournament. Like did not miss a beat.
Wow.
She did whatever she could do. I mean, she was not a setter, but if some practices all she could do was set the ball against the wall 5,000 times, that's what she did.
Wow.
And in all of this, we had lots of conversations about faith and God carrying her through this and how she's going to come out such a stronger athlete on the other side of this injury because putting her through it.
Sure.
And at her first game back, so she ended up being, because of her hard work and physical therapy and practice, she was able to come back earlier than anticipated. And at her first game back, I had been praying with the team most of the season, or Oakley, my daughter, and one other girl on the team had been praying for the team. And she just said, hey, coach, can I pray? And it was just so cool because she had not prayed the whole season. And
That's
so just
amazing.
like to see her step out in her faith like that was super cool. We ended up winning the pin at that tournament, which in volleyball world means you're the tournament champion.
That's awesome.
So, and we hadn't won one. We played really well all year, but that was our first tournament that we won the pin at. So just cool to see God's faithfulness because like not only through her, but through the team. And then, from there, our team went on to having girls who would participate in prayer, but not pray themselves. They would be the ones who would go and ask the other team to pray with us before the games.
I love that.
And so just really, really cool testimony of God's faithfulness.
So you saw other teams starting to pray because they saw you all praying?
Well, we got this idea. Quite a few of the girls on the team played on a softball team. And they were telling me like, coach, like at our softball games, we're praying with the other teams.
That's so sweet.
And so they're like, can we do that? I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And so they totally took the initiative, went out and would ask the other teams to pray with us before the games. And volleyball's really competitive. Like you kind of get in each other's head. It's, like, so this idea of coming together before a match was pretty cool.
That must have filled your soul.
It did. And I mean, refs would come up to us and be like, I have done this for 20 years. I've never seen anything like this. And
that's
so it's cool. It's that's when it becomes fulfilling, is you're seeing more than just their progress on the court. You're seeing like character development and like relationships grow.
So my father-in-law was a coach a lot. He coached my husband's baseball teams. He coached my sister-in-law's soccer teams throughout the years. And he still talks about his coaching days to this day. And I've witnessed people, coach, it's so good to see you. What are your hopes that your lasting impression are on your athletes?
Oh gosh, I don't really have like any idea of legacy or anything like that, but I do love, I mean, to this day, like I will see girls out there and they will run up to me and just be like, coach, and give me a huge hug. Like I have this girl who I just adore who had to switch schools, and she's going to a different school. And I ran into her about 3 weeks ago and she's like, coach, can I come to open gyms? I'm like, do you think I could play for this? And just just knowing that got to have a little, and and this particular girl has a hard life. She has a hard home life, and have opportunities all throughout season last year to just sit with her and pray with her and give her rides to and from, and just, so like knowing that there's a little bit of a lasting impact and creating a desire for her to continue playing the sport. Really, that's all I want, is when girls move on from the age group that I coach, that they want to keep playing the sport.
That's amazing.
So
have you at this point, so if you've been doing this for 4 years, the oldest child you've coached is how old now?
13.
Wow.
So they're going into their, we started in 4th grade. So
they
4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. Yeah, they're going into their 8th grade year. Yeah.
And how do you think you've evolved as a coach?
Oh gosh, I've gotten so much calmer.
Have you?
I mean, I'm a highly competitive person.
Yeah.
And I think, those early seasons where you just want to see the girls succeed and you want to get a win for them. And I think just maturing in knowing that it's not about the win.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, winning is fun, but progress over perfection.
I like that.
Just seeing these girls develop, like the club team that I coached this last season, it was going to be a 7-month season. It ended up being almost a 10-month season because they qualified for nationals.
And it keeps going.
So, and it kept going. We extended our season. We went to a regional front range tournament. Then we went to nationals in Orlando, and it wasn't anything one person did. Sure. It was truly about this team, and I think seeing girls come together, like this team came from girls all up and down the valley.
Oh, wow.
There were 4 different schools and homeschool represented on this team. And for them to come together, they were not a team at the beginning of the season because they all played for different teams and came together to form this one. And then they were such a cohesive team by the end of the year, to the point that they went and played at nationals.
That's amazing.
And I think it's because they love the sport. And so as long as they love the sport, that's really the only impact I hope to have. And if they end up growing closer in their relationship with God through it, what a bonus.
Absolutely. You've coached at this point, you've said you've coached snowboarding, volleyball, soccer. What would you like to coach that you haven't yet?
Well, last night I got to help coach my son's baseball game.
Oh no, are we going to see you on the baseball
field?
No,
absolutely not. I love baseball. I love spectating baseball. I know nothing about coaching. No, my husband, bless his heart, volunteered to coach the baseball team. Also knows nothing about coaching baseball.
I don't doubt that I'm going to come back next summer and you guys are all in. You buy a camper, you're going across the state, doing the baseball thing. We'll see.
Maybe. Never say never. No, but that was fun. Just getting to, and that's where I think you said, you asked me a question when we met before about dispel the rumor.
Oh yeah. Why don't we talk about that? Okay. So there's this rumor that says those that can't teach, so those that don't make it, coach.
Or those that can't do coach, those that can't play coach. Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think in some scenarios, of course, right? But I think in most cases, no, coaching is a choice.
Yeah.
And it's a service. And I think that, people who choose to coach, if they played the sport, are they trying to relive their childhood dreams? I can't speak for football coaches because I'm not a football coach, and maybe they are, or, know, but I think for the most part, genuinely, these are parent volunteers who adore kids, want kids to have the opportunity to play the sport that they love, and coaching is a choice.
Yeah.
We don't do it for any reason other than wanting to create opportunity that we had because we love the sport.
Yeah. And that was going to be my closing question to you. If somebody was on the fence about volunteering to coach, what would you tell them?
I would say do it. I mean, you do not have to know. I coached baseball last night.
Yeah, you don't have to know.
You don't have to. I mean, did I know how to make a lineup? No.
Yeah.
No. Did I put the wrong person in the 4th person in the batting lineup, which is supposed to be, I put my son there, not knowing that's supposed to be your power hitter. Whoops. He did great. It's fine, but he's not our power hitter. So, you can coach and get it wrong, and it's totally okay.
Yeah.
Just be a steady presence. Like if you can be a steady presence, if you are a steady presence in your kids and your kids' friends' lives, you can be a coach.
Yeah.
You don't have to know the sport. You don't. I came into coaching club this year telling my mentors and club directors and people who I look up to as coaches, saying, no way am I coaching at this level. And I'm saying, absolutely, I'm not coaching them at 14s, no matter what. I'll do this year. This is the height,
Yeah.
but I can't coach them at 14s.
So you're hanging your whistle next
No,
year?
I'm coaching them at 14s.
You are?
Yeah. So, but that was just me putting too much emphasis on skills knowledge and too much emphasis. Like I only played volleyball through high school. I didn't play in college, you know,
Yeah.
like I played soccer at a higher level, but I didn't play volleyball at a higher level. So I was letting my own insecurity stand in the way. Like, oh, well, I'm not a good enough physical skills coach to coach these girls who are taller than me. And
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. They're taller, you know, at this point they're taller than me.
Absolutely.
So, and then you realize like you can acquire the knowledge to coach the skills. It's just about, are you a steady, loving presence? Are you supportive? Are you encouraging? Are you calm? Staying calm is key, especially with middle school girls. So do it. If you're on the fence, if you get the email, hey, your kid's league's going to be canceled if we don't have a coach, just do it. If you can make the time, take the leap.
Don't be scared.
Yeah, don't be scared. You know, it's the kids just need the steady presence.
I love that.
So
that's a beautiful way to close. I don't think there's anything more heartful than what you're doing. And the fact that you are doing this with your daughter, I think it's something that in the long run she'll greatly appreciate.
Yeah.
What's the best memory you had with your daughter this season?
Oh man. Probably nationals. You know,
you were in Florida.
I was in Florida.
Yeah.
I was in Orlando for nationals.
You should have told me.
I know. Shame on me.
Shame
you
on
might
you.
have already been here though.
No, I was not here.
Okay,
yet.
It was right before you got here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And next time you're in Florida, I'd love to watch her play.
Okay. Well, we'll be there next year.
Really?
Yeah. So I'll let you know.
So Colorado traveling team goes to Florida.
Yes, that is where nationals are held every year.
So what was the moment with Oakley?
Well, I coach her really hard. Like I even have parents be like, you coach her really hard, you know, like, and I think again, I guess that's another sidebar piece of advice to parent coaches is we get really worried about the optics. Like, oh, you're playing your kid too much, or oh, your favoritism, right? Like, you know, I've had parents accuse me of favoritism before, and that like, and it's like, no, my kid just actually works really hard. You know, parents make an assumption like, oh, coach's kid, that's why they get all the playing time.
Right.
Versus coach's kid or any kid who's putting in the extra reps. Like Oakley touches the volleyball every day. She puts in the extra reps. She's been playing for 5 years. Like that's why she's going to be playing at a different level than a kid who's her first time touching a volleyball. Right. You know? And so I coached her pretty hard this year. I think I was pretty hyper. I don't want to say hypercritical. It was a learning season for both of us in this relationship because coaching a middle school team versus coaching a really competitive club team is different. Yeah. And so this was our first year doing that together. And I always just ask her, like, you know, are you still enjoying this? Do you still want me to be your coach? And as long as she says, Mom, there's no one else I'd rather coach me than you, I'll do it.
I love that.
But that's what it has to be. And I think in Orlando, we had a really unique experience because typically on a volleyball team, you have 10 girls. And we only had 7 girls who could travel with us to Orlando. We didn't have 3 of our key players. We didn't have either one of our middles, which is kind of an important position in volleyball. Like they're our height. And so all the girls had to step into different roles, and Oakley had to play 2 different positions, and
they had less downtime,
no
right?
subs.
No recovery.
They had no subs. So these 7 girls.
How long is the game for?
The game is roughly an hour. They played 11 matches in 4 days. Like they left their hearts on the court.
Wow.
And there was a moment where I got to like see her as a parent and not as a coach. And I'm like, wow, she's playing awesome because she had to rise to the occasion because she was playing one of the two positions that couldn't sub out with the libero, which if you know anything about volleyball, that'll make sense. If you don't worry about it. But she basically did not get a minute break in 11 matches in 4 days. And so I got to see her rise.
That's amazing.
And that was cool because all season when we have our whole team, she would only play 3 rotations in one position, and she played setter and outside hitter, and she really, I just got to see her as a mom instead of just a coach. So I was thankful for that opportunity for sure. And she had a blast. So.
And let's not forget Bridger, who is your team mascot.
Yes, he is. He is our middle school team mascot. Our middle school team is called the Mustangs, and Bridger pregame rides around in an inflatable horse with a purple bandit mask on.
Can you please
to a giddy up song? I'll share a photo or video with you because it's hilarious.
He's awesome.
And he's a great little athlete himself. He plays baseball and lacrosse, and he played hockey. Thankfully, he plays sports I know nothing about, so I leave that one to the real coaches. We'll see about that
because you coached baseball yesterday.
Yeah, we'll see.
Gaby, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. I really hope that I can go next year when you guys are down south to watch the game, or we talk about what you're coaching next year.
Okay. Thanks for having me on, Christy.
Thank you, Gaby.